רגע, אני אבדק.
Exactly. That is my name. זה פשוט כי
מחזיקה איזה
אוקיי.
5 שניות. מכסה את הפנים שלך כרגע. נשמע נורא אבל.
זהו, זה בסדר.
זה?
כן.
So, hi Amit.
Hi.
Thank you very much for speaking with us today. I know it's not easy in any way. Could you introduce yourself, tell us your age, where you were born, where you live, family members?
My name is Amit Yesodi. I'm married to Tomer Ades. We have 3 children. Ori is almost 7 years old. Shir is 5 years old. He had his birthday on that weekend. And Ellie, which is 1 year old and 8 months. I grew up in Israel in a place called Reut. And we moved to Kfar Aza 7 years ago to have our first son, just a week before he was born. I work, maybe I should tell it, but I work in Kibbutz Be'eri, so I have a lot of friends and family from there, which I also lost.
So can you take us back to October 7th morning? What woke you up, where you were, and how you survived?
Yes. I woke up probably 15 minutes before everything started. My oldest son came to our bed and told me he can't sleep, so I went with him to his bed and tried to sleep with him. After a few minutes, the first Tzeva Adom alarm was on, and in our bed was my husband with the baby, and he didn't come, so I went out to call him. He went inside and he put her on her bed and she was still asleep, but my oldest son was up, and at first I thought it's up until this time we kind of kept it from them, and they always slept during Tzeva Adom and stuff like that. So it was like the first time it was really up. And after the first alarm, Tomer, like he always does, he went out back to our room, and then the alarms came on and on. I think it was the worst I've been to. I think in 10 minutes there were like 600 rockets in the air, or that's how it sounded like. And I thought to myself, it can't be from Gaza Strip. It must be from Syria or something. It's too much. So I wrote in my family, and I couldn't reach the internet. So I wrote in my family WhatsApp group, "What's happening? Can someone tell me?" And it was like 7-10 minutes into the first alarm that I heard the first shooting, the gun shooting, and it was very, very close. Like I knew it was just outside of our house. Our house is located just nearby I don't know how to say it in English, but the place where they keep all the weapons. And also it was where a lot of battles took place. So very, very, like 10 minutes into the event, we already heard like guns just outside our window. So I sent my husband, I told him, I understood immediately that it's Havira, I don't know. And I sent my husband to shut the lights up, to make sure the doors are locked, and to come back inside. And he told me, there is already light outside. And I said, so what? There are people outside also. He went outside, I don't know what he did, and he came back. And immediately all the groups started, all the WhatsApp groups of the kibbutz, the second hand, the moms, our friends, all the circles started to give like tips, like how to lock the door. First we thought we just keep the handle up and it's locked. And then someone said it's not true, so I asked Tomer to go outside and we checked the theory and we realized it's not true, you can't lock it. So we started to think how we lock the door, and we took part of the bed of like one of the woods and put it down and tried to tie it. During the time we got message from friends that Aviv Baram, one of our friends, is just outside of our house. He got hurt and he's bleeding, and if we can go outside and drag him inside. So Tomer was going, and all this time we hear shooting just outside, you know, so we don't know what to do. So Tomer started to look for stuff to make a dime, like blood stopper for hurt, and we tried to reach Nira Speck, which was the only one who answered us, and she tried to send forces, and he tried to go outside and drag him inside the house so we can help him. I begged him not to go, crying, and he told me he won't be able to live with himself knowing that he left a friend outside and not trying to help, and then he left. And both of us all the time since it started had knives, like kitchen knives, but that's the best weapon we got. We kept it just on the entrance of the room, like the closet and the wall was like holding it. So he left and I was standing in the front of the mamad with the knife in my hand and the baby on the other hand, trying to keep her not crying so no one would hear us. And he went, and it felt like forever, and I don't want to yell him to come back because I don't want anyone to hear me, but then again I want him. He's very like brave, or too brave, and I was feared. I feared that he would do anything like stupid. So, and then after what took forever, he came back and told me I can't go in our neighbor's house, the one we share a wall with. There are many bad people, and I heard a lot of Arabic, and there are 15, and if I go they would shoot me down. Afterwards, or maybe just yesterday, he told me he did go out, tried, and went all the way out to the grass and tried, but I guess luckily they were too busy fighting with each other and they didn't notice him. But since he told me that, I was very panicked, you know, because I knew they were outside. We heard them like shooting, but just sharing a wall with us. So I started texting and WhatsApping to everyone I know, like which I could write, like the community manager, the Ravshatz, which is was dead, and no one answered. And during that time, all the WhatsApp groups of the kibbutz are like, "Come help me! They are right here. They are in my house. Please come help! They burned the house down." And no one. There was no answer. At some point, my friend, she wrote me, "Please, I'm panicked. Please tell me that the army is here," because we felt, and I think that's the worst feeling I had during all that time. I felt abandoned, like no one is there. I kept messaging my friends from Be'eri, my friends from the kibbutz. Where is the army? Where are they? They are supposed to keep us safe. Where are they? And I did it after 2 hours. I was like, okay, it's been 2 hours. Where are they? And you hear they are not there. You hear there is not there are no fighting. And after 4 hours and 6 hours, and every hour that went by, like I lost more hope, and I felt abandoned. All in all, we've been to the Mamad with all the family 35 hours. So there were many different type of times we spent in the Mamad. Some of the time they were really fighting on our window. We could hear them. It's like 20 centimeters of metal between us. I heard them. Like I knew where they are hiding because all of our house is full of bushes and like it's an old house with many slicks. So I knew where they are standing. I heard the shooting where they come out. And all the time, me and my husband, we keep like changing looks because we don't want to scare the kids. But we were like, some of the parts they were shooting grenades, and we kept hearing them. And one time it hit the Mamad, like the corner. I already sent my parents messages of goodbye. Like I say, okay, they're right here. Nothing stops them from getting inside. And you know, and I write a message from my friend that they shot a grenade on the Mamad door, and other friend they shot a weapon on the Mamad door, and it goes through. It's not stopping it. So I was like, it's now. And as time passed by, the battery ran out, and also the cellular reception went out. I think around 4 or 5 p.m. the first day, the electricity fell down in our neighborhood, and the first 2 hours, the kids watched some stuff on the tablet. Luckily, one of them downloaded by accident a movie of Bob Sponge, and they watched it like 8 times during all those hours. Every time we heard like the shooting getting closer and closer, we told them to watch the movie, so they will be less connected and less. Also, it's kept them quiet. So in the first 2 hours after the electricity went out, the light we had was from the tablet, but then the tablet kind of ran out of battery. So we sent Tomer to look for some flashlights, so we'll have, because it was dark. I never saw something dark as that. There was no light, like nothing, like dark that hurts your eyes, you know, and they are little, they will be scared to death, like with being on that dark. And of course we have so many flashlights, but none of them was found when we need them, you know. One was in the car and one was outside the door, and at the end Tomer found a flashlight, and that was the light. At that time, more or less the evening, we lost every connection to the world. Like we had no cellular reception, which now I think maybe it was good because it kept us not knowing what's really happening. To keep me safe, I think my mental safe. Tomer, which was in the army, a combat soldier, he kept telling me what's happening. Like, he told me, when I asked him why does it take so much time, he told me that, I don't know if it's true, but that's what he told me to keep me mentally safe or strong. He told me that that's the most complicated situation the army could get involved with, like civilians inside houses and trying to keep them safe, and probably they are hostage. And probably they are hostage, so it will take a lot of time. And I'm like, how much time? 5 hours? He was like, no, it could take a long time. How much time? 1 day? It could take a long time, few days. Be patient. It will be okay. Or other stuff he told me. I keep trying. I was trying to make the children not to be too loud. I was afraid they will. And I figured kids can't whisper. They can only talk very loud. So I kept trying to say, please whisper, we are hiding. Please whisper. I don't want the bad people to find us. Whisper, whisper, whisper. And in the second day, when it was a little bit more quiet next to the house, and we heard the fights a little bit more in other spots, he told me, babe, they are not fighting civilians anymore. Don't worry. They are fighting with the army now, and don't worry, we don't need to be quiet anymore. They are not after us. Now I know it's not true, but it kept us, with some sanity during all those hours. And when the night came, we went to sleep. It was very, very, very hot in the room, and we had no oxygen. Like our head hurts, and we felt like very. So Tomer kept telling me we should open the door for now and then to keep some air going inside. But every time we opened the door, the smell of war came inside, and it was very like. I was not a combat soldier, so I didn't know those smells. It was very strong and very out there, like. And I was afraid that it's not good, but they told me at least it has some oxygen. So we kept opening the doors for a few seconds, trying to keep the air coming inside. But at night we couldn't do it because we were afraid. So we closed the door with all the stuff we made from wood to try to keep it. And then I opened the window, the glass of the window, because the glass of the window only isolates from the noise. It has no, it's not stopping anything. So.
Because the safety room has like a metal window as well?
It has a metal window, which we always close. Every night we close it. From ever since we lived in Farazat, because I never want to run and then do it, and we don't have a lot of time in Farazat. It's like 5 seconds usually before you hear between the Tzeva Adom alarm to the heat. So every night before they go to sleep, I shut the metal down, and then I know that if anything happens, at least I don't have to do that and run there. And the kids always sleep there. So at night I kept I slept with my son on the bed that is just under the window, and I kept the window, like the glass window, open, so we have some oxygen. And he told me, should we do turns on like keeping guards? And I didn't know what to do. Like how could I sit there like so many hours? We went to sleep kind of early because it was dark, and what did we have to do? So when the kids went to sleep around 8, we also went to sleep. We didn't have connection anymore and stuff. So both of us went to sleep. Tomer, before we went to sleep, we have 2 exits from the house, so we put a lot of chairs and the sofas, and on top of everything he put all of the pots we have. So if anyone enters the house, we hear the pots falling and like doing the sound, and we know someone is inside, and we have enough time to run and fight on the door with them. So we slept the night, and then when the morning came, it was very hard to believe that still no one came. No one came, and we still hear every 1 hour or 2 hours like the bomber just outside the windows gives like so we know they are still there and no one comes, you know. And we do in the morning, that morning, the second morning was my son's birthday.
Sunday morning?
Sunday morning was my son's birthday, and Toma was very, he really wanted him to have a birthday, you know. We were supposed on Saturday to celebrate with all the family in the woods, so we had everything ready. That's the food we ate, like we had a pot of jachnon and fruits and snacks, so that's what we ate. I didn't have a lot of appetite, but the children ate in the first and second day, but it was really hard for him, really important for Toma that we celebrate Shir's birthday. So he went inside of the house to the garden, because that's the only place we have lighter in, to bring the lighter. And also about that, I told him, please don't do it, it's not that important. And he kept telling me, you know, the way we behave inside here now will be the results of our children's mental health. So we should be as normal as we can, and you know, and it's true. Now I know it's true, and also I believed him inside, but it was very hard. So we went outside and he brought some lighter, and we celebrated for him, and we had a cake in the kitchen because it was ready for the birthday. And there is in Farada, there is a special song for a birthday that they only do in Farada, and we sang him the song, and he made a wish, which is, I will send you the photo because it's so touching. You see the hope on his face. And we gave him the small presents we got for the children for the birthday in the woods. And after we looked for a flashlight for 2 hours, I didn't remember, but we had in the presents, we had small flashlights.
Oh.
So, and in the morning it was a little bit more quiet next to our house. Only 1 and 2 hours we heard the bombers were still outside, but I don't know if they were wounded or they only did like 1 and 2 hours and then shot back. And I say it's only, but it was a little bit calmer than the day before. And at some point, I think around 10 in the morning on the second day, I was like, I won't die like this, because I was wearing underwear and a tank top, and the underwear was teared, I don't know. So I said, I'm not going to die like this, and I'm not going to be found like this by soldiers. And I smelled like fear, you know, like sweat of fear. So, and Toma convinced me it was quieter and I can go to the toilet, because all of the time we had a pot in the room which we used for toilet. Toma was very like organized. This is the bathroom on one side of the room, this is the kitchen or like the eating area. And he kept it, and every 2 hours, 3 hours he took the pot out and like cleaned it and got it back. Every time we went out to clean the pot and spill it in the toilet, I was like, don't flush the water, okay? And then he went out and I hear him flashing and is yelling me, sorry, it's a habit. So in the second morning I was kind of feeling it's gonna be another day like this, you know, no one is coming. I forgot to say that on the first day we heard the soldiers, like in the evening, in the afternoon, we heard the soldiers speaking in Hebrew outside of the window, saying "Titmakem," like settle here. And Toma knocked on the mamad and saying, we are here, and they didn't answer. but they were still very fighting with bombers, so we didn't know who's really outside, and it was a bit scary to open and look and maybe get shot or something. Then on the second day, when it was a little bit quieter, I went to our room, which is the most unsafe place in the house because it's like temporarily built. So if they even shoot it, it's go through. And I changed my underwear and put some pants on and a bra, and I cleaned with wipers, you know, and trying to clean myself a little bit. And I took some of the baby clothes, which was in our room, and I tried to sneak outside of the windows because we already knew from the messages in the groups of the day before that right outside of our house there was a big combat of the Kitat Kolenot, of the first power from inside the kibbutz that's supposed to react first. And I tried to look if I see them because it's like 10 meters outside of the window, and I couldn't see anything, and I was a little bit scared. I came back inside the mamad, and Tomer was making boiled eggs because it was, I don't know. He was making boiled eggs and for lunch, and suddenly we hear it very close again, like very, very close. And it was probably around 2, something like that, so in the afternoon.
So you've been there like 24 hours, would have been 6 a.m.
Yeah, we've been there like 30 hours at that time, or 32 hours already. And he went to put the eggs, and they were already, I heard them like on the pot, like dancing, you know. And suddenly they started shooting right outside of our house.
Oh.
So he came back running inside the mamad, and we closed the door and everything, like, and we were ready. And then I told him the eggs. I was afraid that the fire will go out or that they will hear that. So I asked him, please go and turn it off so I won't be scared. So he was crawling there, turning it off, and then they were really, really, really shooting very strong around our house. He came back running inside, we closed everything back, we both of us held the knives and he held the door, you know. And then we heard all the pots that he put falling down. I tell him, Tomer, they're here. I said, yes. Take the kids and go outside of the window. I'm like, I won't make it on time. The baby is sleeping on the bed, the boys are watching a movie in the other side of the room, and the windows is there, and they're already inside the house. It's like, it's not a big house. And he says, listen to me and take the children and go outside of the window. And I'm like, I won't make it, Tomer. And we heard them, and they shot our house. You know, I can't really, we knew it's the end. And then they came to the door of the mamad, and they were fighting with us on the door of the mamad, and we fight, and then they released. And then we heard them say Naki, which is clean. And we understand it's soldiers, it's not the bombers. And we started yelling, we are here, we are Israelis, we are here. And they're like, Mieten, where are you? And I'm like, Tomer Menamit. What is your parents' name? Where are you from? And we started yelling, 13, which was the passcode we have for the unit more than 24 hours ago. And they were like, we're opening the door, you have nothing in your hands. We both like tossing the knives, and they opened the door. We're like raising our hands, and we see there, I don't know, like 20 soldiers, right, like aiming. And Tomer tells them, why like this? So they say, there are many, many bodies outside of your house and a lot of blood, and we were sure that bombers hiding inside your house. So they were very cute soldiers, you know. They say we see someone have a birthday because in our family for every birthday at night we hang all decoration in the house, like, and we did it, but he didn't even see it because they didn't left the mamad for those 2 days. So they started singing happy birthday and stuff. And my kids are like in shock. They look at the soldiers. They are very well equipped. They are all with guns. And they tell us in 15 minutes or so you will have an armed physical that can take you out. And you can organize some stuff that you want to take with you, and when we say you should be ready to leave. All of the house, even before they enter the house, someone took me to see the damage we have. Before the soldier came in shooting, a lot of shooting came from the windows and from the doors. So we saw the bullets go from the back door through the living room to the parents' unit, through my closet, and then we saw the bullets and their roots, and they all stopped. We couldn't find the claim.
The shells.
Yeah, but we saw all the roots, and it all stopped just a second before the mamad. Like, our house is like a castle, so. After they came, it took more than an hour till we went out, because they kept telling us, sorry, they are being held, they are still fighting around the house, and we don't want to get you out when it's not safe. So a few more minutes. During the time, all the soldiers were at every one of our windows, laying and aiming. So it was still not. They were securing us. And I asked them if the kids can go out and see the house, because I want them to not be shocked when we leave the house and being held, delayed. So I want them to see, because it was all the glasses were broken and all the walls were with the bullets, you know. So I took them out. I don't know how much they realized out of it. I can't remember what I saw. Afterwards, I tried to think if I saw our kitchen, and my brain shut the image down. So then, after an hour or so, they told us, we take you to your neighbor's house. We can't go to the main road because it's too dangerous. So we go from house to the physical. So we went from our house to Sharon and Shahar's house, our neighbors. And there we met our next door neighbors from the other side, Mazi and two of her boys, and her husband was killed, we realized later. And we met Sharon with her girls, and her husband was killed, we heard later. And we hugged and everything, you know. We didn't know what was happening with each other because we had no connection. And it felt like everyone are dead. So they took us couple by couple to the car because it was still very loud around us and they were afraid. So they kept us safe, like the soldiers with their bodies, couples to that. And then they told us there is no room for everyone, but everyone will get inside. And we went inside and they already shut the door, and then we heard them yelling, wait, there is another lady, wait. And then Polly, with our granddaughter, came. Polly is the mom of our best friend, which we didn't know what's happening with him. And she went on that car and she said, what will happen with Nadav? What would happen with Nadav? She was crying. And you know, we were still thinking maybe something is okay, you know. So basically on our ride out of there, all of our neighbors lost a loved one, everyone. When we arrived to the gas station, which was the first point, safe point, we were the last one to get out of Kfar Aza alive. So a lot of people, we saw Tomer's mom's there, she was waiting, she got out I think 2 hours before, and she was waiting to see us. She was the first one we saw. And we were very worried about her because she was alone in the mamad the whole time. And she also sent us photos before of a lot of shooting inside our house, like of the halls. And then the second person we saw was Yoni Peled, which lost both of his parents and his little brother.
How old is he? How old is he?
Yoni, probably around 33, I'd say. And he told me, Amit, go online now on all of the WhatsApp group because everyone think you're dead. Like they said you are dead. So go now and said you are out. And the only thing I wanted to do was call my parents because I already said goodbye with them and I knew what they were thinking, and it's been 24 hours since I sent the goodbye from them, you know. So I took my phone outside of plane mode, and then the messages didn't stop like getting, you know, and I couldn't touch the phone. It was so I gave the phone to Yoni and I told him do whatever you want with it, and I took the phone of Tamir Salomon, which lost his brother, and asked him to call my parents. And I did call my parents, and I couldn't recognize them. They were crying so bad that I was like, who is it? My mom says it's mom, and I'm like, no, who is it? I couldn't recognize her. And then I say, Mom, we're all okay. She's like, all of you okay? Yes, Mom, all of us okay. And she started going name by name. Tomer is okay, Ori is okay, Shir is okay, Eli is okay. And then I asked Tomer to send her a photo because I heard on our varsity she doesn't believe me. So I sent a photo, and inside the shop there, I don't know how to call it, it was very hard to be. It smelled like death. Like a lot of people came there with urine and other stuff, so it was very, very bad smelling. And also the shop was like everyone took whatever they want, so it was full of garbage, and all the soldiers was sleeping on the floor there on toilet paper, and so it was very hard to be inside. So I kept going outside with Ellie, with my baby, because finally she can walk around. But Tomer kept giving her back to me and telling me go inside. And I didn't understand why. Afterwards, he told me that on our sides there were like trucks, big trucks with tons of bodies, and they were like putting bodies inside, black on black, like. And he didn't want us to see it. But I was there, and my brain, I didn't see it. You know, I didn't understand what he wants from me. Like, why does he keep sending it back inside? I think that's the end of the story, but in so many ways it's only the beginning. My mom and dad, they were like, it's the end for us, you survived. But what we've been through since then and now, a week and a half later, like, when we got out, I still have hope. Everyone are like us, you know? But now I know everyone are not, and we lost so many friends. all of our neighbors, our house, the community. I lost faith in people, like in the humankind. How could they do those stuff? I lost the security in our country. They should have kept us safe. Why does it took them 35 hours to come and get us? I always said I can live in Faraza, and when people ask me, because I'm not there originally, and people ask me, how can you live in Faraza? And I kept telling that, you know what, as long as something happens and I can go in the car with the kids, and I know I can pack in 5 minutes and go to my parents in Tel Aviv or whatever, and keep their mental, I always thought, you know, it's not really not safe to live there, it's just not mentally safe, because everyone are PTSD. So if I keep going out whenever anything starts and they don't go through this, the Tzeva Adom, then I'm okay. But I don't think I can ever have faith like living, knowing what could happen.
It's so brave. Really. Your husband is amazing. What did he do in the army? He was had the right mindset and knew how to manage
You know,
it.
he was in the Nachal, like a combat soldier in the Nachal. But also, I think for him, if you listen to his story, he will tell you a different story. He felt all the time like he was supposed to go out there and, you know, join them and fight with them. And when everything started, he got Tzav Shmone, like to go to the army. And he told me, when we go out from here, I'm going to the army. When the soldiers told us to take some stuff with us, he wanted to take his uniform. I had to ask him, like, please wait 1 week before you go. I need you. I can't be alone right now with the children. But for him, it's a different experience. First of all, he told me that there are stuff I don't know that he did outside, you know, because I wouldn't let him.
He was armed?
No,
Oh,
just with a knife.
good night.
You know, at some moment I think that it's good that he didn't have a weapon, because then he would have more courage to go outside to try to bring our friend inside, and he had no chance. Like if they saw him, they'd kill him and they come for us also. I don't know, it's so random, like the luck we had. It's very random. The neighbor just in front of us, which was like a grandma to my kids, Mira. She was gone, you know, all of our neighbors, just outside of our house. It was very random luck. I don't have any way I can explain it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's one of the hardest things to try and understand. I'm sure also that your husband took some amazing decisions, and
Yeah, now that our children, I know that some of the children in other houses, they didn't talk for 2 days. And I know that my parents, my children couldn't stop fighting. I'm happy for it, you know. I'm saying, okay, maybe they will go out normal from this.
thank you.